Thank you for collaborating with me. Thank you for communing with me in this space. I wanted to make this video because I got a download this morning while I was meditating about the abandonment wound and how it relates to the inner child. So I have some stuff written down that I wanted to read off real quick. So just jumping right into it, there are many different reasons why, or many different instances in which the abandonment wound would surface. So it could be like in my instance, when I was 9-10 years old, my father left, and then my mom had to work extra hard, combined with other traumas and things that I went through in my life. I felt like I was emotionally abandoned by my mother. So there's the physical aspect of abandonment and the emotional aspect of abandonment as well. And, for you or in your situation, it could be your mother that was the one that left. It could be an uncle, an aunt, or a grandmother that was really close to you, and maybe they transitioned, and that may leaving you feel like you're emotionally abandoned, or because they're not there physically to support you, you're experiencing physical abandonment. So as it relates to the abandonment wound, some things that kind of surface because of this is a person might develop separation anxiety, or they might have the need to control others and control every aspect of their lives because they couldn't control the physical or the emotional abandonment that occurred. They couldn't control the fact that their father or their mother left. They couldn't control the fact that their mother had to work overtime to provide for the family, so she wasn't there to support them and give them the emotional love and nourishment that they needed. This person might also be resistant to change. They can develop codependency. So when they're in relationships, whether it's friendships or in relationships like romantically with other people, they become codependent because they're trying to kind of fill that space that was abandoned. You know what I'm saying? So also someone who may give too much of themselves. Somebody who, this is the person that always says that people are taking advantage of them, but they're just trying to compensate, like I said with the previous example, for that wound. So they're giving too much of themselves because they don't want this person to physically leave them, or they don't want this person to emotionally abandon them. This can also like manifest isolation and avoidance. And I know this was my issue. When my mother emotionally abandoned me and my father was not physically there, I felt like I needed to isolate myself. I felt like an outcast in my home. I felt like nobody wanted to hear me, be around me. Nobody wanted to really deal with me and my problems. So I just isolated myself, and I channeled it all into my notebooks. I have notebooks from since I was in the 4th grade. And I just wrote and wrote and wrote all my feelings out instead of actually dealing with them or addressing them. Because when it came time to deal with my feelings, I would avoid it. And I would fill that hole. Like as I got older into my teenage years, I started smoking heavy so I can numb myself, and I didn't have to feel the pain of being emotionally abandoned or the fact that my father wasn't there. So some things that you can do to remedy this wound, of course, shadow work, and I put time traveling as well. So this is basically like when you get in a space of shadow work, you can take yourself intentionally back to certain memories. So this is time traveling. I'm 24 years old, but I'm going to mentally take myself back to when I was 7 years old, when I was 13, when I was 14, when I was 16, and all the times that I felt like I was emotionally abandoned, all the times that I felt like I wasn't loved, all the times where I felt physically abandoned after whoever just broke up with me, or me and this friend fell out. I can go back and fill those spaces and with positive affirmations. I could fill those spaces with love, or I could just observe the memory and allow myself to feel in those moments. So letting myself cry, letting myself scream if I'm angry, letting myself just feel it out and fully integrate those memories and those feelings into our mind, body, spirit. Yeah, and just breathing through it, you definitely want to just breathe, because this helps your mind and your body and your spirit process all the feelings, all the emotions that come up. Definitely doing some breath work, as well as shadow work, and just allowing yourself to feel. When you have this wound of abandonment, you can start to develop a space within you. Like I said, for me, I was smoking a lot of weed, I was doing a lot of drugs. And this was because I was trying to numb myself. So, in the way where my mother was emotionally distant from me, or I felt emotionally abandoned from her, I started to distance myself from my true self by using substances. Whereas some people, they might use sex, or some people might use music, some people might use whatever medium to actually abandon their own emotions and their own feelings, so that when they cry or when they're upset, they feel like it's weird, or they don't know why they're doing this, and they can't allow themselves to fully feel their feelings out, because they have separated themselves so far from their emotions because this is what somebody did to them. Um and on the flip side of it, like I said, where I was, like, I isolated myself and I developed like an avoidant complex, and I emotionally distanced myself from emotions. um I'm going into this, but this is like sacral chakra and root chakra wounds. So when your sacral chakra or your root chakra is out of balance, it either displays in a way, like for me, where it was underactive, or if you have another person, they might be overactive, where they're crying all the time, and but they're not understanding why, and they're not integrating those feelings. So it's not really settling in. The mind, body, spirit is just like, you're allowing yourself to cry, but no real work is being done, no real integration is being done, because you're not taking the time to figure out, well, why am I crying so much, why am I feeling so much, where is this, like, there is such thing as a over, like, imbalance of energies, where you have an overactive chakra, and you're feeling and you're doing all these things to compensate for the fact that your chakra is not just like at center, you feel me? Because at one point it may have been completely underactive. So as you get older, you're in your teenage years, you're an adult, and you start to overactivate this chakra instead of finding like a balance point. Just reading the rest of my notes, I said allowing yourself to feel. You can abandon your own emotions and feelings. I went into that. As well as causing you to abandon the most sacred aspects of yourself. When you were a child, you were all feeling, without shame and without guilt, without fear. If something hurts you, you cry, you scream, you allowed yourself to feel the full range of those emotions. When you were happy, you laughed. Like, when you see little kids laugh and how happy they are when they smile, they allow themselves to feel the full range of their emotions. So at times, like I said, we can either overdo it and not really understand why. We're just, just going with the motions of it, and not really come into a conscious perspective of like why we're, feeling so much, or allowing ourselves to cry so much, or whatever the case may be. Or we can separate from this aspect from ourselves completely. And, this abandonment wound, I feel like all these wounds kind of center and start around the inner child. So ages 0 through 7, or maybe 0 through 13, 14 years old. When you first hit your teenage years, you start to get a little bit more freedom, a little bit more room to do as you please, and to just explore different parts of yourself in the world. But this could even be something that occurred recently. Like, I'm 24. So you may be watching this and you're in your early 20s, you could be in your early 30s, and you've been with somebody for 10 years, and all of a sudden, you guys break up, and that forms an abandonment wound. And this makes you feel either overactive with your root and sacral chakra, and underactive with your root and sacral chakra, overactive with your emotions, or underactive with your emotions. And I want to get into the chakras. So, and they both relate. I feel like the sacral chakra deals with emotional abandonment, whereas the root chakra deals with physical abandonment. So the root chakra, birthright, is the right to feel. No, I'm sorry. It's the right to be here and the right to have. This is your sense of safety and security. And when this chakra is out of balance, you start to feel like unnecessary fear, where you don't feel safe, you don't feel secure, whether in your physical body or in your environment. You feel like you always got to have like a strap on you or a knife or something to protect you, because your spiritual birthright for you to feel safe, for you to be here in your body, for you to be here on this earth is compromised. So you have to supplement and compensate for it in other ways. And then going into the sacral chakra, the sacral chakra birthright is the right to feel. And like I said, this is like how you felt when you were a child, all feeling without shame, without guilt. At one point in your life, maybe if you were like me, I was emotionally abandoned by my mother. So at certain times when I would go to her and I would try to talk to her and I would try and like, you know, oh, this just happened at school today when I was a child. She just got off work. She's tired. She doesn't have the emotional capacity to be there for me. And she might be upset about something that has nothing to do with me, but I'm a kid. I don't know that. And so she takes it out on me by telling me to shush or telling me to go do something. And so this, in my mind, my subconscious starts to form a complex where it's like, okay, well, I'm not allowed to feel these feelings. Like, I just tried to explain to her and try to tell her like how happy I was, but she presented me with a complete opposite energy where she was upset or where she was angry. And so it makes me feel like, am I wrong for feeling this way? Am I wrong for being happy if my mom is sad? You know what I'm saying? And so just looking at the root chakra, looking at the sacral chakra and those wounds, looking at how to balance them out, you know, with the root chakra is being grounded. Hopping right back into it. Everything is multi-layered, right? Because we live in a multi-dimensional universe. So when you have an abandonment wound, whether it is a physical or emotional abandonment wound, like I said, this affects your root and your sacral chakra. And because of this, it can play out in varying ways. If you know what the root chakra stands for, like I said, it is the right to be here in your environment, the right to be here in your body, and the right to have, right? And so when this right is taken away from you, you may develop different fear complexes. And then, you know, going down the road, this can lead to suicidal thoughts. You feel like you shouldn't be here. You feel like you shouldn't be in this environment, like you shouldn't be on this earth. So now you're having suicidal thoughts. This can lead to depression. Or another thing that came to me was attention deficit disorder. How a lot of people say that children are like they have ADHD or they might be hyper aware. It's because a child is all feeling. They're connected to source, you know, from the ages 0 through 7, they're operating completely from their subconscious mind. So if the father was taken away from the home, if the mother was taken away from the home at a very young age, they'll be able to sense that. They'll be able to feel that, even if the mother was only in their life for a year, even if the mother was only in their life for 2 years. So now their focus is off because they're always looking for where their father was or where their mother used to sit or where their father used to, you know, cook and do this and that. That's what they're always looking for. That's why they're not focused. And when that isn't addressed, that starts to go into other areas of life, because having a balanced root chakra is being driven, being focused, being grounded, being present in your body. If your root chakra is unbalanced, then you're not present in your body. So you're not aware of the different type of diets and exercises that your specific body needs that's unique to you and your energetic imprint, to help satisfy you, satiate you, to help you develop and evolve into the best person, the best soul that you're trying to be. And going into the sacral chakra, if your sacral chakra is out of balance, this may result to somebody being overly sexual or asexual. This may result in somebody who denies their self-gratification, who doesn't allow themselves to have pleasure, who is always, like I said, doing something for the other person, giving to the other person, but not allowing themselves to feel, not allowing themselves to be happy, to even feel the full range of their emotions, like crying or being sad. When they feel tears and things come up, they try to stifle them and they resist feeling that emotion. This can also result in, like, you know, bad spending habits. You may be trying to compensate for the fact that, you know, you were emotionally abandoned and you didn't get the I guess, the pleasure from your parents being there and them supporting you and them feeding you and giving you the love and nourishment that you deserve. So you start to overcompensate by you shopping a lot, or you start to overcompensate by you, like I said before, eating a lot of sweets, or just having bad eating habits in general. You just eat whatever makes you feel good without any cognizance of how it affects your mind, body, spirit. And to just balance these chakras out, the root chakra, you want to ground yourself. So this is meditating. This is being present and being aware in your body. If you have to create a log for the things that you eat and see how it affects your mind, body, and spirit, you have to be completely rooted and centered in who you are, what you are, why you are here, you know, or this is going to lead you to be feeling lost, feeling like you're in a daze, feeling like you don't know your purpose, feeling like you're just going with the wind, like you don't know why you're here. You can use red foods, or spices to help you balance your root chakra. Like cayenne pepper, I know is really good, and burdock root is really good as well. And for your sacral chakra, when it is balanced, you feel comfortable in your sexuality, your gender, and who you are, who you were born as, right? You feel comfortable in expressing yourself. You feel comfortable in creating and making things and doing different things that you've never done before. You like to explore this aspect of yourself. You have fluidity. I said earlier that, you know, when you have an abandonment wound, this can make you resistant to change. And like I said, it makes you controlling as well, because you couldn't control the fact that whoever in your life physically or emotionally abandoned you. And so now you're scared of change because you feel like this is how the subconscious mind works. You start to associate different things, especially when you're a child and you don't really know and you're just going off of pure awareness and feeling. You start to associate this person leaving me as change. So now you're resistant to any change that comes in your life because you feel like, you know, those feelings of abandonment come back up. It feels like somebody's leaving you, or every time something is just changing in your surroundings. And so having a balanced sacral chakra deals with fluidity, being able to go with the flow, being mutable, being adaptable to change, being adaptable to all the different things taking place in your life and, you know, the life around you, the environment around you, because change is a constant force in the universe. You cannot escape it. And balance sacral chakra as well as allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to cry, not stifling your emotions, just feeling the full range of your emotions whenever they come up, or creating a space for yourself like I've been doing recently. Like if I feel like I need to cry, I will go in my room and sit on the floor and kind of like sit in the fetal position with my knees up and just sit there and cry, maybe light a candle, light some incense, or, you know, I don't try and force it, like play any sad songs or something, but like if I really feel like I need to cry, I'll just go in the room and go lay down and let myself purge that energy and allow something else to come in. And it's also, you know, eating orange foods as well, some herbs that are good for the sacral chakra. I know Damania is a really good one. Nothing else comes to mind right now. So that's it. That's the video. I feel like I wanted to say something else, but it completely escaped me. So thank you again for communing with me in this space. Okay.